Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the MJ space. So some big news since we last spoke, which was Curaleaf purchasing the largest private MJ MSO in the United States, making a behemoth of a company now. So they're the sector leader in the US, and in my opinion they were previously, before this news was even announced. Last time they had an acquisition, they went on CNBC, their market cap size, and now that's only solidifying that they are the major name in the US space. So we're going to be watching for number one, correlation. Correlations are less significant in the US MJ space than they were in the Canadian MJ space when Canada was, making its run up and seeing its very, very consistently correlated sector because of what it's traded on. The CSE and the OTC have less correlation because there's less bots and automated trading. In my opinion, that's the reason. I know from observation that there is less correlation in these markets, but as far as to why, I can only speculate that it's less bots, less volume, looser spreads, less market makers, all of these things that make it a less opportune trading environment. So we're in a scenario now where we're seeing individual names run by one by one in the US. We had MedMen with its big move, C-Web with the big move, now Curaleaf with the big move. And the question is, can we change daily trends? Because heading into today, we knew we were just looking for daily lower highs, and today's the kind of day where you eliminate one side of the action. If you go into every day and you're looking either bullish or bearish, today's the kind of day where you say, okay, we're on day number 3. We've already bounced 3 days. This is day number 4. We have a clear daily downtrend for most individual names. We have daily exponential resistance for most individual names. I'm either looking for a bearish entry or I'm not looking to trade today, because bullish entries at these levels is very poor risk to reward. So we had a pullback day sector wide, and it's going to be up to next week to put up or shut up for these bulls. They have to hold the low and then break the high of this bounce. So CGC has to hold 33.38, form a higher low on the daily, and then turn around and break resistance of 36.74 to see a daily trend change and to try and get over these daily exponential resistances. If they can't do that, we're just looking at a prolonged continued downtrend of lower highs and lower lows. And even Curaleaf, which we will look at here, has to prove a trend change. 2 days of a big bull move is not enough. Yes, shorts cover, but if you do not put consistent buying pressure on those shorts, they just reload. Cron, on the daily time frame, just looking for the lower high as well. Exponential resistance. Anything under 1585 was that lower high. A decent lower wick from today's low of the day. So the question is, can the bulls hold 1391 and break not only 1526, but because that next resistance is so close by, if we're going to believe these bulls, they have to break 1526 and 1585 to see that trend change on the daily. Keeping in mind the weekly time frame is still looking for a weekly higher low to form, and it is still possible. And I'll show you TLRY in just a second where it's still possible as well. So we're in this area right now where we know we've been bearish for a while. We feel a little spark and some sentiment shift, but nothing significant. And now the question is, okay, heading into the end of July, can bulls do anything, or are we just going to fade these moves again and drop to lower lows? So if the Cron bulls can break those two resistance levels in the upper $15 range, then we'll look for our weekly higher low to be set, and we'll have this range between 1351 and 1786 that we'll continue to be watching as we head towards the fall. APHA, pulling back on the daily, it was an inside bar. If we break the inside bar bearish, our temporary top is set at 668. The bulls will have to hold $6 and break that level to change the daily trend. ACB, bearish reaction. I think it was Bank of America that gave them a downgrade or left some bearish notes about potential inability or I should say the need to raise cash in the near term. Either way, that signaled the top. Our key resistance was 748. That's now a double top, and we pulled back very hard and closed near the low of the day. 662 is support. The odds of continuation are a lot less likely with this big bear day. The bulls are going to have to hold 662 and break make that 746 and 748 to change the trend. Otherwise, we're heading back to the lows. So TLRY, this is the kind of little tight move where if we can change this daily trend and hold the low of 42.03 and break 45.48, that's going to be our weekly higher low. And then we're going to look at the potential. Can the bulls change the weekly trend by getting over $51? So first things first, change the daily trend. No major red flags on this consolidation. Bull volume on the way up, fairly contained consolidation on the way down. Can they change that trend and give us the weekly higher low? And I'm going to be watching that for potential clues to the sector as a whole. Certainly not going to anticipate the sector will follow TLRY, but the more individual names that make trend changes, whether it's on the daily or the weekly time frame, the more that is a gauge of sentiment. CTST had all kinds of volatility today, and article, I wasn't following CTST tick for tick today, so pretty much we had a tweet come out and talking about potential people looking to buy out CTST. Bottom line is we rejected from resistance. 320 is the highest price we've seen on this bounce, and we topped out at 318. Bears defended that level because if 320 would have broken, some bears would have to cover. That is not the case because they were able to reject the price there, but it's still in play as we head into tomorrow. The first key range into tomorrow is 288 support and 318 resistance because that's the range from the volatility. There's a halt mixed in there as well. So 288 to 320, and if we break 288, bears back in full control. If we break 320, that's going to be notable, keeping in mind that if we break 320, we're looking bigger picture and still just going to be looking for a lower high to be set somewhere in the mid to upper $3 range perhaps. OGI, so lower high was set. We knew it was likely compared to 731. Signal of a loss of the hourly uptrend is the indication that our lower high has been set. As soon as we break 675, that's an exit as a bull signal or enter as a bear signal, and we dropped very significantly from that level. If you went bearish there, let's say you got filled a couple pennies below it, and here at the low of the day, 6% move. So now it's up to the bulls. As we know, we've got our high, low, lower high. Bulls have to hold 540 and break 695 to change the daily trend. Hexo, still very weak. Daily exponential resistance. Bulls not doing anything. Break 525 and I'll start paying attention. Don't break 525 and it's just a prolonged downtrend. But keep in mind that the patterns that start to look like falling wedges, we need to pay attention to because Cura was that falling wedge that we were watching for a month. And of course, it's news that led to that breakout. But there's some other names that are in falling wedges and it's worth keeping an eye on. So a big bearish reversal candlestick today for Curaleaf. I ended up trading it a good amount yesterday, and I entered a swing position at the end of the day yesterday, and I sold this morning. Definitely left money on the table as it kept running up, but I wasn't sitting on the computer today, so locked in that profit and would have been red at the end of the day, so just fine with that at this point. If the bulls bounce from here and we start the morning with some green, we have to be cautious of this hourly head and shoulders pattern. If we form an hourly lower high, fail to break 1103, and then drop down and break $10, that's a clear confirmation of the hourly head and shoulders pattern, and we'll then be in daily consolidation mode. And again, yes, it's great news. Yes, it's a great bull move, 30+%, but we have to be skeptical of bulls until they confirm trend changes. How many times on CGC and Cron in the last 2 months have we seen a significant bull move with no trend change follow through? 15%. On Cron, it was even more than that. Remember that daily move that Cron did? Cron did this and did not confirm the daily trend, and we faded back considerably. And this was a move of 30%, same as Curaleaf. So again, Curaleaf has to top out whenever we do. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we have to form a daily higher low compared to 802. That's the easy part. The sooner the bulls form that higher low, the better the odds of continuation. But 1103 is now the line in the sand that the bulls are going to have to break sometime next week if we want to see continued sustained buying pressure and continued pressure on any shorts that may be left. Again, I don't think there's a ton of shorts on these MJ names. They're definitely there. And because these US MJ names are so thinly traded, a small amount of shorts can have a significant impact. But when you're on the CSE and the OTC, just like there's less bots and less automated trading, there's also less opportunity to short and get those shares. So it's definitely a thing, but it's not as significant as it would be on more liquid markets. VFF, we're just looking for a daily lower high. Resistance 1020 is now a double top. And if we break the low of today, tomorrow of 952, we're looking right back down at 889. So again, bounces are great. There's gains to be had there. There's gains in both directions, but we have to remain skeptical of bulls until they prove something to us. T-God on the daily chart. Anything under 340 is just a lower high. Solid little bounce though. Keep an eye. We're building a base of support. I like this kind of chart better than I do on a lot of the charts out there, just because we have clear established supports attempting to be defended. We have lower lows not getting follow through. And as soon as we can get over 340 and 342, that will be the shift in momentum that we're looking for, that the bulls have struggled at for the last 5-6 weeks. But that would be the weekly bounce underway if that could take place. So not expecting it to happen after. I would expect a daily higher low needed before we break those resistance levels, as we are still 3-4% away. But strong close. Let's keep an eye on T-God into next week. VGW, daily inside bar. Again, 385 is the most important support for me, and now our most important resistance is 469. We're much closer to a bear break than a bull break. It's certainly a bit choppy action. Bulls pretty much have to hold our recent low and break 423 to change the 4-hour trend and shift momentum. But we've got a lot of choppy action while we're waiting for some more clarity. So if you're in positions, you're managing it with support and resistance levels. If not in a position, I personally would either only be making a bullish entry with 385 as a stop loss level, or again, just patiently waiting for clarity. ZYNE had an all-out dump yesterday. I did a quick flip, oversold bounce for just under 2% on that one as well. But on the weekly chart, it's the equilibrium. Don't forget the broader patterns that we're watching. So the low is 1038. We formed our lower high, and now we're looking for a higher low compared to 1038. Have we changed the hourly trend? The answer is no. We have a double bottom at 1150, so a very clear support there. But the bulls have to break 1224 to change momentum. So again, worth playing if you're going to make a play based off of 1038 support, just keeping in mind that it's a very volatile name, as you can see by the one-day drop of 10%. Actually, it was 15%. So using smaller position sizes because there's more risk. And a good example of that is I've been trading the gold miners. I've had a swing position on NUGT, a bullish gold miner, for the last 2 weeks, more than that. And it's a very small position. Compared to my day trading sizes, it's at about 15 to 20% of my day trade positions. But because it's a volatile name and I'm holding it on a broader pattern, those gains are very quickly adding up to a week maker and beyond on a tiny position, because it's almost up 50% at this point. But the bottom line is, when there's a lot of volatility, you don't need a lot of capital to make those trades worthwhile. And ZYNE is one of those scenarios. CWeb. Bear break of the daily. So it's going to be important now for the bulls to see a green day tomorrow. That would be notable. If we get a green day tomorrow, that shows us, okay, a clear break of support, a clear loss of the uptrend, and not a ton of follow through, which is exactly what the bulls want to see when we look for a weekly higher low to form. So we're still scouting this weekly higher low, and if the bulls can form it soon, it will be healthy. If we pull back down into the mid to lower $18 range, that's when we start getting into the equilibrium scenario. So again, if we can form the higher low soon, continuation is more likely. If we continue to pull back from here and we drop down to the lower 18s, then we look for an equilibrium and a tightening range to be the most likely. So how this consolidation plays out over the next week is going to tell us what's most likely on the longer term weekly time frame. IAN, again, not proving anything, just a lower high on the daily, and we're about to test those lows again, 352. And we could very easily break those lows and drop to lower lows. We're cooling off RSI levels and allowing for further leg down every time. And we knew anything under 447 was just a lower high. The 4-hour time frame, again, just no trend change on the 4-hour. We just have to be skeptical. It's nice to get excited when something goes green for a day or two, but again, it means nothing in the bigger picture, because the trend is what is most important. And unless the bulls can hold 352 and break 395 into next week, then the bears keep their complete control of IAN. TRUL is the same thing. Anything under 15, we were just looking for a lower high. We topped out at 1462. The bulls are going to have to hold 1280 and break all of these resistances to have a meaningful bull break I don't have my magnet on, but that's the key support. And we got 1462 and the low 15s. And again, we've just been in this channel for now almost 2 months and waiting for a daily trend change at a bare minimum. OH, bear flag on the daily confirmed, continues to be crushed. Again, OH is a perfect example of we can always go lower. After buying OH on June 14th and exiting on the bear break here, July 8th, that was protecting against the possibility that we drop to lower lows. So any name like IAN or anybody else that is still weak and still in a daily downtrend, we can absolutely go lower. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Otherwise, pain is likely to occur if you're trying to play bullish. We have to protect against this. And our new lower high on OH is 783. Where's the next support level? After 695, we're going to be looking down at 618. And last, we'll wrap it up with MedMen. Closing down at the low, 285, the only nearby support. MedMen has already given us a red flag due to the size of this pullback and making it a more likely equilibrium than a continuation pattern. So keeping an eye and watching if C-Web is going to follow suit. But we have to change that daily trend, which is nowhere near happening. Key resistance is 308. 285 is support. And until we change the daily trend, we can't be confident our weekly high or low has been established. So bottom line, nice little spark for Curaleaf individually. The U.S. sector did not respond to that. And you would think that it would. But clearly we're still in a bearish downtrend. So bounces are short-lived and the bears have significant follow-through and ease. It seems easy for the bears because that's what life's like when you're riding the trend. So we'll continue to watch to see if daily higher lows can form. Anybody that has not changed the daily trend, be very skeptical. Burden of proof is on the bulls, and the bulls in the vast majority of instances are not proving anything to us. Appreciate you watching. We'll check back in over the weekend. Have a good rest of your day. So another raised bed update. We've got 2 more, as you can see. The path that's coming together. Have to finish adding topsoil and manure to these guys. And then we're going to start on the next row. And we'll probably do the same thing where we pull out the path, put a bunch of mulch in the path, and then here we'll do the next row. And going to leave a diagonal from the corner of that bed where the wood's lined up and then to this tree to be able to have a grass path to walk along the pond, and then do more raised beds over here in this spot that's nicely in the sun right now. We planted the first fig trees. My buddy Casey got me these. And there's 2 of them we put in this open space and we planted them together, so we'll see how these go over the next 5+ years. Doubt I'll get any fruit for the first 3 years. Patience.